This is a quick tutorial on how to adjust the retention on your Kydex or Boltaron inside waistband holster. To get started, always make sure that your weapon is safe and clear. Drop your magazine, eject any rounds, make sure there's nothing in there, and keep that magazine out while you're adjusting your retention. Now this holster retains the firearm with the retention detent here. And that retention detent holds onto the trigger guard. So the flex of the Boltaron or Kydex is actually what lets it overcome that. Now, how hard that's pushing down on your trigger guard is set by the retention screw or retention screws. You may have one or two retention screws depending on the holster model that you've got and your particular firearm. We'll go over the difference here in a minute. Now the screws tighten to tighten the retention and loosen to loosen the retention. So first thing you want to do is put some blue thread locker on that anytime that you are changing any adjustment on your holster. So whether it be the retention or the cant, that way it just holds in there a little bit better. And put your firearm in there, check your retention, see how you want it. If you want to tighten it up, you're going to go ahead and turn that clockwise. If you want to loosen it, you're going to turn it counterclockwise. Checking the retention as you go. One thing you want to pay attention with, the difference with the two screw setup from the single setup, is that you want to make sure that this front screw is relatively the same tightness as the back screw. And the reason being is that with the two screws, you've got pressure up front. So if you got more pressure up front, you can see what the holster does. It funnels out like that. So what that does is that can cause some rock in the holster. If you have a rock, your firearm's going to be rattling around in there. And then you're also going to have excess friction up here on the muzzle. Now, if you have it the opposite, where it's too loose, then it's going to put pressure on the back of the holster, on the insert. So you're going to have excess drag back here. It's not really going to cause rock that way, but you will have some excess friction on the insert. So always make sure that you're paying attention to that. So I'm going to tighten mine up here a little bit. Get that closer in. There we go. All right, and I like mine to be a little tighter in the front than it is in the back, just so it does add a little bit of funneling, so it's a little smoother on the insert, but not so much that it causes any rock. I don't like rattling around in my holster. Okay, and another thing you want to pay attention to is when you're tightening your retention and you're checking it, you want to make sure that you're holding it like this, where you've got a grip on the top of the sight channel and the bottom of the retention area. Or you can alternatively hold it like this, where you're holding onto the clip and pulling that way. And the reason why is because, like we said earlier, this thing retains the firearm by squeezing against the trigger guard. So if you're squeezing the trigger guard and checking that retention, you're adding excess pressure to that trigger guard. And that will give you basically a false positive. So you're going to have looser retention when you put it in your belt. So always make sure you're pressing it like that. And then when you're done adjusting it, always make sure to put it in your belt and see how it feels to draw when it's in your belt, because you're going to be drawing from a different angle and the mechanics of it will be completely different. So always make sure that it's how you want it when it's in your belt. If you have any further questions or need help troubleshooting, we do have troubleshooting pages, or you can always reach out to us at support@cyaSupply.com and we'll get you taken care of. Train hard and stay safe out there.